So here we are back at the workstation, and today we're going to be showing you how to put silver on these. I did say I was going to delineate them with silver, and I don't want there to be that much of it, to be honest with you. I like the blacked out look a lot. In fact, I like it so much, this one's going to keep it. This one's going to stay pretty much blacked out. So, I'm going to push this into this little fella. See if I can get it to stand on its own 2 feet, so to speak. There we go. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our sponge. I'm going to take this. Now, one of the other benefits of doing it the way I did was they dry very, very quickly, guys. Now, I've got this, and I want a very thin edge here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come along, and in a thin way, I'm just going to do this. Okay, now check out the other side. Ah, almost done. And if I want it like this, where it's super, super thin, then I did it perfect, guys. And I do. Okay, this is looking gorgeous, isn't it? And look at the time it took. A few seconds, guys. A few seconds, okay? To go from it's kind of drab to it's kind of sick. And look at how neat that is. That is what I want to see. So we're going to come in for a tiny bit more paint. We're going to do the back edges here. Ooh, I just dragged it right off of this, and that's my mistake. I can actually correct that later. But we're going to do the same thing along the leading edge, like that, okay? And it looks pretty good. Needs a bit of correction, but very minor, or does it? And that's really what's up to you on a build like this, guys. You can just choose to not worry about it. Now what I want to do is make a nice little edge right here, guys. Now this is a bit of a rough edge to do, but I am going to attempt it anyway. Check that out. Not so bad, right? And look at that. Nice. Nice. Now that's not so bad, is it? Not so bad. Now what happens when we do this edge? Ah, prettier, isn't it? I think so. It's like a magic cure for boredom. Now I'm going to take this same technique along to the bottom edge. But you want enough paint on it. If you don't have the paint like you get here, you won't have a wraparound effect. And you really do want that wraparound effect, guys, because that's what creates the line you're looking at. So now we're going to come back in from the other way. We're going to do another tap. I'm just going to come up against it and just bring it along. If I find it wasn't deep enough, I put a little more pressure. But I'd rather go a little too shallow at first and then just trace along the line going a little deeper than find that I've gone too deep. Because it's harder to take it back than it is to put more on. Now, I'm going to push in a little deeper because I want this line a little deeper. Now, there are going to be problems where you got glue spots and stuff, but generally it goes pretty sweet. It goes fast, and I like this. Front edge is done. Now I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to do the bottom edge, inside bottom edge first. Believe it or not, it's because I might touch this one while I'm doing this one. And look at that. Look how easy that is. So now I'm going to turn it around to keep my fingers out of my own way. And I'm just going to come down the other side, guys, and along the edge. Look how neat that looks. Look how perfect. And I mean, if you look at how much time it would take you to do this type of a technique with a brush, guys, it's no joke. It's a lot of time. I know, because I have done it. Now, I just made a big boo-boo on the other side there by letting it slip, guys. But given that I have to come back in here and redo it anyway, that's okay. And I didn't anyway until I screwed it up, but it's okay. I'll show you. This gives me a good opportunity to show you how to fix a mistake like that later. But for now, this is looking pretty good. I do have one more spot I want to hit along the back of this line, and then at the same time I want to hit these. But I wanted them to be thin, like that. And one of the tricks to doing them thin is to do it with less paint on it. So I find, like that, if I just do it a thicker edge first and then save it to do a thinner edge until I'm almost out of paint, it works perfectly. Look at how pretty that is, guys. How simple, how easy. Now, it may not seem like much to you, but in the end, the simple act of my doing this will have a huge effect on my ability to see the aircraft in the air, guys. And also for me to be able to differentiate its orientation in the air. Top from bottom, all that stuff. Alright, so we're just going to leave it like this for now. I'll come back in later. Now see, a spot like this, guys, right here, where I just didn't have enough paint on it to really penetrate to the depth that I wanted, is the easiest thing to fix. And this is why I tell you, start with a little tiny bit and then come on with more later to make your thicker line once you see whether you're going to like the look of it and how thick you really want that line to be, guys. Like that, okay? And now I'm happier with my lines. I like them. I'm going to leave it. There's no point messing with it. This is a quick job that helps you to make the plane visible, guys. And I love that I can do it that fast and that easy and come out with a good result. So again, I'm going to put it somewhere where I can't physically touch it and where its edges aren't going to be physically touching anything. So there we go. Now it's set in place. The edges will be protected from whatever they may bump into, which is what I want. And because I like the look of it so much on that aircraft, guys, I've changed my mind yet again. It is my right. And I'm actually going to do the same thing with this one, only I'm really going to try and take my time, guys. I'm going to do it off camera, but I'm going to show it to you when I'm done, and then we'll see. Because like I said, if you do it right in the middle of the sponge with the right amount of paint on it, you should really only have to ever touch each one once, and it should come out nice on both sides like that one just did. So before I start the next surface, I'm going to touch up with some paint. I'm going to put my sponge in the right location so that I get a nice even on both sides. I want it right in the middle, guys. Like that. Okay? And I have not narrowed this sponge, guys. This just happens to be the width that these sponges come, and that just happens to be perfect for the job we're doing. As you can see, it comes out really nicely. And the minute you don't have enough paint on, you'll know because it starts giving you uneven lines. And at first, you'll be able to just go back and correct it because you have enough paint on. But like that, okay? I'm pretty happy with that. I don't feel the need to adjust that at all. So now I'm going to just come in here and hit it. Come into the other side and hit it. And that's it, guys. Nothing fancy. Just make sure I hit it thoroughly. And I am being a little more careful here, and I am getting a nicer result. So I'm going to try this right from here. And I don't really want them to be absolutely identical. But I kind of want these to be identical, which is weird. You might not think I would, but I actually do. Only because I liked it a lot. I really like the look of this silver edging on the black. and whatever other details I might paint in later, I've only got a couple of colors to work with, guys. And because of that, I'm only going to do a couple of things. No. To them, basically. What I mean by that is there's a ton of stuff. As a painter, oh, shite, look at the big blathering mess I just left, guys. That's the real trick. Take your time, don't slip. If you slip, it'll be a messy affair. But that's easy enough to correct before you put the aircraft together. So I actually recommend you do this generally before you put the aircraft together, but I also am going to do the leading edge real careful of these guys, like that. But to do something like that, you need a lot of paint. And it might seem like the worst place to get out a lot of paint, but if you want it to be done neat, you're going to need it. And it's the same process as before. Just take it and dab it on there, and you'll find it works beautifully, guys. So I'm just going to take it and dab this and run it down, and that's it. So we've got the 4 leading edges done. I'm seeing some more stuff here I just want to touch up. And now we're going to go on to the top edge. And I'm going to do the same method. And there's enough paint there, no problem for me to do that whole leading edge in one pass, guy. And I still have enough paint to come down here and do this one. Like that. Now we're going to add some more. We're going to do this leading edge at the tip of our wing. Okay. And now I'm going to come in across the back side. And look at that, guys. Look how neat a job this does. It's one of the reasons I like this technique so much, is because it's so easy to work with. And I have so many aircraft that I want to paint. More to the point, I have so many aircraft that I want to make for beginner and intermediate flyers, and I want to encourage you guys to try building your own aircraft. I thought, if I don't show them an aircraft that's cool looking, who'd want to build it, for one? And if I show you one that's too hard to build, again, who's going to want to build that? I need to show you something that's going to be within your ability level as a beginner. And this really is, this whole build really is, guys. If you watch me cutting it out, it's easy to trim this body out. It's really not hard, you guys. It's so easy, in fact, that I had no trouble doing it. No, it took me a few times to get it right. But some things in this world are really, really worth taking your time with, and an RC airplane is absolutely one of them. I'm already loving the look of this, guys. It's classic, it's sleek, it's beautiful. And take a look. I now have 2 sleek, beautiful new aircraft designs, and they are badass, guys. I will stand behind these as great builds for anybody, but they're not necessarily beginner builds, guys. Consider the following: aileron sizes, number of channels, all will have an effect on your aircraft. All will have an effect on your intended use for that aircraft and how it should be built and put together. So choose accordingly. I am showing you guys some really great designs. I will show you when they are built, but each of these would be a fine 2-channel aircraft. So I'm going to stop this video and go from there. And again, I mean, to me, these look gorgeous, guys. You can't fault that. For the time it took me to paint these, what's wrong with that? You know? I mean, if you had that on your wall, your friends would be like, oh, dude, that's cool. How'd you get that? And when they find out you made it, they're going to be like, oh, man, as if you made that. Keith out.